So here's another question, but this one it is based on salt balance as well as water balance. So let us read through the question and try to understand what is happening. It says a diagram below shows the reabsorption of salt and water through the tubules of the nephron in the kidneys under the different conditions. The width of the arrows represent the amounts of salt and water. So one, we have diagram 1 here where you have the glomerular filtrate, the reabsorption here as well as the renal tubule, and then the amount going to the urinary bladder. I mean, this means that it is going to be taken out of the body, and they say that each arrow represents water as well as salt. So the dark arrows will be your salt, and here it will be your water. Right, so as you can see here, you can see there is some sort of a balance here. There is less salt being lost as well as less water being lost, and more salt and water being reabsorbed in the blood vessels. Whenever they say reabsorption, just know it is in the blood vessels, meaning we are trying to increase. So this person had low H2O as well as low sodium, right? So in the blood, so the body had to do what? It had to reabsorb the sodium and water back into the blood vessels so that it can increase the water as well as the sodium. Now diagram number 2, as you can see, you still have your filtrate. You must remember your filtrate is your waste. Filtrate, this is the waste that has to be taken out of the body, but this waste can contain certain important things such as water as well as salt. So your body doesn't want to lose these two. So let's see on diagram 2 what is happening. Here, as you can see, the dark still representing salt and the light arrow representing water. We have this person losing more water. More water is lost, less salt is gained. So they're losing more water here. More water lost. So it means here they had more water, they had more H2O in the body, so the body is trying to reduce this water. And then here, as you can see, the salt here, this person is losing less salt is lost, therefore it means more salt absorbed, more salt. Oh, so since there's more salt absorbed, therefore it means they had less salt as a stimulus. Less salt. Therefore here more salt is absorbed here. This is the salt. More salt absorbed. Less water is absorbed there. Reabsorbed. Then another one here we have what? The opposite of what we did up there, whereby you have more salt being lost, and then more H2O, sorry, that's supposed to be less H2O, less H2O lost through the urethra or the bladder, urethra, out of the body. Then here, as you can see, you have less salt and then here you have more water reabsorbed, more H2O reabsorbed. So what does this tell us? It tells us this person had more water in the body and less salt. So they're trying to they had, this is more water reabsorbed, so it means they had less water in the body and they had more salt, because less salt is being reabsorbed and more of it is being lost. So let's go to question number 1. They say name the hormone in the body that is responsible for controlling the water content. Water content is controlled by ADH. ADH is your antidiuretic hormone, ADH. And then salt content is controlled by aldosterone. Right. Then they say name the gland that secretes the hormone in 5.1b. 5.1.b, they say which hormone secretes which gland secretes this hormone. That gland is adrenal glands, which are found, these are found just on top of the kidneys, the adrenal glands. Right, adrenal glands. Then they say which diagram 1, 2 or 3 would represent a person who had eaten salty chips as well as salty chips on a hot day without the intake of water. Here they're telling us that you must check a person who is having too much sodium ions or salt in the body. So there's a high concentration of salt, and H2O, there is low concentration here. And if you can check with our analysis here, you can tell that this is it, more water, less salt. It can be diagram 2, less water, more salt. This person has eaten salty chips on a hot day, so it means if you had eaten salty chips on a hot day, it means you may have more salt in the blood, therefore less of the sodium will be reabsorbed and more of it will be lost. And then if you hadn't taken any water on a hot day, it means your body will have less water, therefore more water is reabsorbed in the blood vessels and less water is lost through the urethra. So I think the answer would be diagram 3. The answer is 3, diagram 3. Then 5.4, they want us to explain. 5.4, they want us to explain your answer in so how are you gonna explain your answer here? It's 5 marks. 5 marks. Now I'll start with water, right? Or should I start with let's start with the salt, right? So in this one I'm gonna say that in the filtrate, there there is more salt and oh, sorry by that, there is less salt in the filtrate. There is more salt and less water, right? This is because if you intake, the intake of salt increases the intake of salt increases Na plus in the blood, and a hot day without the intake of H2O decreases H2O in the body, or in the blood, let's say the blood, in the blood. Now, because of this, less Na plus is reabsorbed into the blood, and more Na plus is excreted with the urine. I'm explaining according to the diagram. I'm not explaining the process, right? It's excreted with the urine, therefore meaning thus a decrease. Thus Na plus will decrease in the blood. And for water, let's have a talk about water, and then more water is reabsorbed. More water is reabsorbed. Oh, with a B there. More water is reabsorbed into the blood, and less water is excreted. Thus, the water level will increase in the blood. The water level will increase back to normal. in the blood. So yeah, that's how you answer that question. I'll be doing the last part of homeostatic process, which is the skin as well as thermoregulation.